My name is Kelly McHugh. I'm the founder of Digital Yoga Academy. I'm going to be sharing with you today 6 strategies to overcome imposter syndrome. You know, we all struggle with self-doubt and fear of rejection and imposter syndrome and, you know, this inner voice, this inner critic that is known to be a little harsh, because we can all be our worst inner critic, right? So, you know, I get it, because I get that too. You know, I deal with the same things that you do. And I think we all do, okay? Which is why this is something that has to be worked in, day out. And it's easy to look at, you know, it's easier to scroll through your feed and to see other yogipreneurs, other yoga teachers who, you know, they look really successful, and, you know, and for us to look at them and think, oh, well, they've had it easy, or, you know, they were in at the right time, or it's just happened for them, you know, so quickly, and they didn't have the obstacles that I'm having. Like, it's so easy for us to start going down that path. And what I want to say to you is, it's not true. You know, it's just that we don't see the challenges that other business owners go through, right? We see the positive parts of their stories online and what they're sharing, and we rarely see and hear about the stories of self-doubt and fear, okay? And imposter syndrome, of course, is part of that. Like, it's part of that journey, and it's normal. It's completely normal. It's almost unavoidable. Like, every single person and business owner, yogipreneur, has to deal with this, okay? And it almost never goes away, right? It's that fear of, I'm a fraud, or it's this feeling of feeling like a fraud. You know, who am I to be doing this? Who am I to be teaching what I'm teaching? You know, I can't write a blog on this. I'm not expert enough for this. I can't do a live video on that. And, you know, perhaps you feel scared, you know, to put yourself out there, or you're nervous about what you're doing, and, you know, you're kind of lacking that self-belief and confidence. So there's all of that kind of going on up here. And then there's the other part of imposter syndrome, which is, what will people think? Yeah, what are my family going to think? Or, you know, maybe if you have a full-time job and you are doing yoga teaching as your kind of side hustle at the moment, maybe you're thinking, oh gosh, what are my co-workers going to think when I suddenly pop up on Instagram sharing about yoga? Like, they have no idea that I have expertise in this area. They're going to think I'm crazy. Like, what are my friends going to think? You know, what's everyone going to think? And so we start to worry that we're going to show up and look like this fraud, and so we kind of, you know, lack confidence, okay? We lack confidence, and we're worrying what everyone's going to think, which is really an ego thing. It's coming from the ego when we're worrying about what everyone else thinks, because really we shouldn't be worrying about that at all. So, you know, you might think, oh, you know, people are going to think I'm not good enough, or I don't know enough. And then you actually start to wonder those things yourself. You know, am I good enough? Am I good enough to do this? Do I know enough? Do I need to do another yoga teacher training? You know, and we get into that loop of doing training after training after training after training, and still not growing our communities, right? Which is where we need to be focusing. We need to be focusing on growing our communities. So what I've been describing is a normal part of this business journey, of this entrepreneurial journey. And so that's actually good news, isn't it? It's good news because it's just a normal part of the journey. Like, none of us were born business owners, and we have to face these new challenges that we've never faced before. Okay, so the important thing is to recognize it as that. This is a normal part of this business journey that I'm experiencing right now. And what are the strategies that I can use right now to overcome it? Okay, so that's what I want to speak about today. Okay, grab a pen and paper. strategy number one is we must ask ourselves better questions. Okay, we need to start asking ourselves better questions, because if you are asking what I'm going to call low value questions, okay, if you're asking yourself, or if you're thinking, what if I'm not good enough? Or what if I don't know enough to do this? They are low value questions. Yeah, they're low value questions. And you can greatly minimize these negative thoughts and these low value questions with some higher value questions by shifting your mindset. Okay, so here's what that might look like. So instead of asking, what if no one joins me on my live video? Okay, this is a good one, because I'm sure many of you have a fear of going live and there being 0 followers, 0 viewers. I mean, it happens to everyone, right? It happens to everyone. What I should be asking myself, instead of saying, what if no one watches my video? I should be asking, what video content can I create that's best going to serve my community? Okay, what video content can I create that will best serve and support and educate my ideal students? It's a higher value question, isn't it? A much higher value question. And instead of asking, who am I to start a blog? Okay, it's a good one. Who am I to start a blog? No one's going to read it. Ask, how can my blog content improve my students' lives? Yeah, how can my blog content, my blog articles, help my students with their yoga journey and support them? That's a much better question to ask. Instead of asking, how am I going to compete with this other teacher over there that's been around for years and doing amazing things and also has an online course on the same topic that I want to have an online course on? How am I going to compete with that teacher? Instead of asking ourselves that, we want to be asking, how would I feel right now if I had offerings that my students were lapping up, right? If I was selling out my offerings and supporting my students right now with that online course that I want to create, how would that feel to be creating impact in my students' lives? So remember that when you compare your beginning to someone else's middle, you're creating expectations that's going to hold you back. Yeah. So catch yourself, really, is what I'm trying to say with this one. With this strategy number one, to ask yourself better questions, high value questions, instead of these low value questions of what if I fail? What if it's not good enough? What if I don't know enough? Instead, flip the switch, okay? Switch the dialogue and ask yourself better questions, right? Ask yourself better questions, because you can catch yourself straight away. You can catch yourself as soon as that question comes up. What if I'm not good enough? Take a moment, pause, and flip the switch. Okay, that's strategy number one. Strategy number two is to lean into your experience and your results. Okay, lean into your experience and your results. So I want you to remember something. As a yoga teacher, you are constantly learning, okay? You're constantly building, finding better systems, better ways to live, a better life, not just for yourself, but also for others. And that in itself takes a high level of cognitive skill, okay? And insight. You help people reach desired results. Remember this, guys. You help people, as a yoga teacher, reach desired results. And you very likely have a process or a system or a framework or something that other people can use, okay? Because you've reached a result yourself. And you must have had a system or a process or a framework in order to do that. Maybe you haven't spent time actually thinking about that. And it's really worth doing that. It's really worth sitting down and thinking about what's the process that I went on to get to where I am today, because that's a process that's got you a result. So by going through that process, you've obtained a level of expertise and training and insight that other people will pay for. Okay, so you have a track record of behaviors. Really, you've had to dedicate time and energy and to learn skills, and so you have behaviors that you've embodied to get you to where you are today. So there's credentials there. There's credentials. And so when you start to feel like an imposter, I want you to really lean into that. Lean into your credentials. And when you start to feel unworthy and like a fraud, go back to it. Go back to your results. Go back to the training. Go back to the education. Go back to your life experiences, the things that you've been through to get you to where you are today. And if you have a student community, go back to the messages you receive, the emails, the social comments, the things that your students have told you at the end of the class, how you've made them feel. Go back to all of that and just remind yourself, how much grit it's taken you to get to this point in your yoga career, because there's nothing phony about that. Okay, so lean into it. That's strategy number 2. Strategy number 3 is to celebrate your wins, right? Celebrate every win, big or small. Tell me if you do this. Do you do this? Because this is definitely something that I didn't always do, right? I'd achieve something and then I would move swiftly on to the next thing without taking a moment to really recognize what I've just done and to celebrate that. I did that for years, and it took, working with a coach to kind of point that out to me. And it's so important, and it's easily done. There's a real value and power in celebrating your wins. And, it's important to pause, reflect, and celebrate, big and small. So what I encourage you to do is to track your successes for a few months, and keep a log in a journal with all the milestones that you reach, and any kind of obstacles that you've overcome, the wins, big, small, it doesn't matter what it is. But if it's a result and it's a milestone, I want you to track it and then do something each time. Decide now what it is that you're going to do when you actually achieve a result that you're working towards. Yeah, decide what it is, and you get to decide what that is, right? It could be, I don't know, buying yourself your favorite chocolate bar. It could be going out and having a massage, or whatever it is that works for you, having a nice relaxing bath. It can be anything, but do something to mark it and celebrate it. And, when you actually track your results like that, you can always come back. So when you start to feel like an imposter syndrome, you can come back to these accomplishments and just remind yourself, when imposter syndrome is creeping in, remind yourself of how far you have come. Strategy number 4 is to visualize your success. Okay, so I really recommend that you are doing this anyway. Like, make it part of your morning practice. I do this. I make this part of my morning practice, part of my morning meditation, is to visualize where I am heading. Okay, where am I going in my life, in my business? What are my life goals, business goals? Can I visualize it happening and really sit in it, feel it? What does it feel like to get to that end point, to actually achieve those goals that you're working towards? Feel it in your body, right? Because when you take a big leap to launch something, to launch a business, like it takes time, it takes hard work, you have to have real belief in yourself, and you'll notice that the success you visualize, that you are working towards, that you're writing out about, that you're visualizing, you'll notice it starts to become a reality. Okay, so you actually start to have proof that you can have this business, that you can have this success, and it can help you to overcome that imposter syndrome. So visualization harnessing the power of visualization is a really essential part. And I encourage you to do it. If you're not doing it already, really encourage you to do it, because it can help you to really just break through any kind of negative thoughts that you have around your business, and this kind of fear of failure, really, that can plague us as we start to do new things. Okay, and that takes us to strategy number 5, which is embracing failure, right? Embracing failure. So we are brought up with a fear of failure because, from when we're at school, we're told that we can't fail our exams, and, we can't fail this, we can't fail that. And so we have this fear of failure kind of in our bones. And it can feel scary, failing at something, especially when you are taking the leap to start your own business. Maybe you've come from a successful career, and now everybody thinks you're crazy and mad for leaving that, giving that up, leaving that behind, and becoming a yoga teacher. Definitely, that's what I went through. My family were like, what are you doing? What are you doing giving up your well-paid marketing job that you worked so hard for the last 15 years to become a yoga teacher? They didn't get it. And so there is this kind of, scary feeling that we're going to fail, that we're going to let ourselves down, that we're going to let everybody down. But really, what I'll say to you is failure is not the end of the world. In reality, it's a regular and necessary part of your growth. So, without taking chances, without taking risks, you can't get to the next level in your business. You have to accept that failure is going to happen. It's inevitable, guys. It will happen. Of course it will. So don't allow it to dictate, the future success of your business, of growing your business. It really is part of the process, right, of learning. And as I said before, you are not born with the answers here. You're not born a marketer. You're not born a business owner, an entrepreneur, yogipreneur. So we have to embrace failure as part of this process of learning and getting good at something and mastering something, okay? Because making mistakes and dealing with, your failures along the way, is part of your job, really, of being an entrepreneur. It's part of it. So embrace it. Embrace it. There's beauty in it because you learn, and you learn and you're like, okay, I'm not going to do it like that again. This time I'm going to try this. I love to encourage you to see your business like you're in a laboratory, right? You're in a laboratory and you're testing, and it gets a little bit messy and you're trying things out. Get into the laboratory, okay? And don't be afraid of it getting messy, because that is how you learn. You test things and you learn. So finally, the strategy number 6 is to take action. Yeah, to take action. So it's actually really nicely linked with the embracing failure part, because if we don't take action, there won't really be any failure and there won't be any success, right? We won't experience any of that if we don't take action. So, if you are feeling like you're not good enough, if you're sitting there feeling like you're not good enough and it's not working and it's never going to work and you don't have the answers, it's quite possibly because you're not doing what you need to be doing, okay? So I want you to just really evaluate, are you delaying something or putting something off, in an effort to, because you're just kind of stuck in that place right now and you don't know what to do. So you're just putting it off and you're delaying it. Because if that's the case, then you need to just start taking action. Taking action is one of the fastest ways to overcome any insecurities that you have, and specifically to dissolve imposter syndrome, okay? When you take action, you become more confident, right? When you take action, you either fail or you succeed, right? So you're taking action. If you're failing, if you're making a mistake, you're learning from that. And if you're succeeding, amazing, you're becoming more confident to keep showing up. It's giving you that courage to continue to show up. if you don't take action, you're never going to be able to do any of those things, right? You're just going to remain stuck, okay? And that's a place that like none of us want to be. We don't want to be stuck, okay? So you need to take action to really kind of push through that feeling and start accomplishing the things that you're supposed to be accomplishing and doing. Like that's what's going to make you feel good, right? If you keep doing things and you keep accomplishing, because it feels good to feel accomplished, right? So that's really what I recommend that you do, is that you just start taking action. And of course, it means you have to have a plan, right? You need to have a plan, and just focus on that. Focus on taking those baby steps so that you really can start seeing your business move forward in the directions that you want it to move forward. So that's what we've been talking about, guys. If you're just joining now, you're right at the end. But today I've been sharing with you 6 strategies to overcome imposter syndrome. And as I said at the start, you know, it's something that all of us as entrepreneurs deal with, like this feeling of I'm a fraud, who am I to do this? You know, this unworthiness feeling. And it's something that you can overcome as well. You know, you just have to have the right tools, the right mindset, and the strategies there to help you to move forward through it. And, you know, as you grow, as you up level in your business, new challenges will come up. It's inevitable. That's how it works. You know, new challenges will come up, but if you really start to cultivate your mindset for success as these new challenges come up, it's easier to move through them, right? We keep moving. We keep moving. So remember, we need to move, and you need to take action, because you're a yoga teacher, and the world needs yoga teachers right now, right? The world needs people like you to make an impact in people's lives, and you can't do that if you're feeling uninspired and you're feeling unmotivated and you're feeling stuck. Okay, that's not where you want to be. So you have our support here at Digital Yoga Academy. We have tons of resources for you guys. Get onto the website, digitalyogacademy.com. There's a marketing blueprint there. There's a teaching online video series freebie there as well. There's tons of freebies. There's the wait list for the Profitable Yoga Teacher program, which is coming up next month. It's a 6-month program where you can create and launch your very own online yoga course, and there will soon be the opportunity to re-enroll into Yogipreneur Launchpad as well, which is one of our other signature programs. So there's lots of support here for you. I hope that this has supported you to move through those times when you feel stuck and when you feel like you can't do this, because I'm here to tell you that you can do this. You can do anything that you want to do. If you put your mind to it and you keep taking action, you can do it, okay? So sending you so much love. Thank you so much for being here with me today. And yeah, goodbye, everybody. See you guys soon. Bye-bye.